The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Tennessee WildCast. Hey, we're glad you're tuning in. Glad to be back here at the Tellico Hatchery. We've got another great episode for you today. We got Jon Ellis with us. He's the hatchery manager here. Cody Fisher is owner of Tellico Outfitters, and then Caleb Luzader is going to be with us. He's Tennessee Fly Company, or Luzader. I'm going to get it right. Luzader. I tell you what, that's a tough one, buddy. So anyway, we're glad to be here, happy to be here, and I got Miss Mimi Barnes helping co-host.
Happy to be here.
As always in her region, and we're excited about today's show. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
We've had great shows out here talking about what's going on behind us with the brook trout facility and some of that stuff. So we're just going to get an update from Jon real quick on what he does here as the manager and kind of bring us up to date, and then we'll jump in here with Cody. So tell us, Jon, what's your main role here as Tellico as the manager?
Well, as the manager here, I think is basically just keeping everything running and tying things together. We have an outstanding staff here. They're dedicated, hardworking. It's truly basically what it sounds like, just managing, the logistics, making sure that things are going smoothly, making sure we have what we have. And we've come up with a lot of new concepts over the last few years that are, very progressive, and ways to try to advance our program, provide better fish and more fish, throughout the entire state.
Awesome. Hey, you mentioned your crew. You've got, how many folks you got here working with you?
Right now we currently have 4.
Okay.
Not enough.
No, well, I don't know if you ever have enough, honestly, because we just keep to expand and do more and more things. But we've got some outstanding people here. We really do. And their commitment to the hatchery is second to none. And without them, we couldn't do what we do.
And just a quick rundown of what the hatchery actually produces.
That continues to change like a lot of things up here. We actually rear rainbow trout. We'll get those from Del Hollow Federal Hatchery, and we'll bring those up to size, and those are the fish that we primarily stock throughout streams. But we've also taken on several other tasks, such as, rearing albinos. We were probably the first place in the state of Tennessee ever to actually propagate albino rainbow trout. We have those in the tank behind us right now. We're also starting up our brook trout, Southern Appalachian brook trout reintroduction or restoration process. So right now we've got some brook trout in the building that'll be going into some of your wild streams, and we've also taken on the task of trying to produce an extensive amount of quality trophy size fish to go into streams throughout the area, not just Tellico.
And for folks listening, we're just in this unassuming place. You have runs like any fish hatchery does, but there's this little tiny building behind us. It's just unassuming, and it's amazing the amount of work that comes from this small place. Beautiful place too.
It really is. I think it's an ideal location. Besides the environmental factors we can't control, typically the conditions are very conducive to raising quality fish. And at the exact same time, the building behind us is small, but through grants and just the effort of TWRA staff, by the time we have it completed, it's been going for quite some time, but with the renovations we're doing now, it'll be a state-of-the-art facility.
And I should have asked you for this in advance, but I didn't. But do you remember the pounds of fish that come out of here every year?
That's a kind of there's not really a straight question for that. Each one of our raceways here will typically have somewhere around 5,000 fish in it.
That's amazing.
So we try to release them anywhere from our standard stock size fish, about a half pound, up to 0.8 of a pound.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. Great work.
So you just have to do the math on that one. Yeah, you got me on that question. Yeah.
But it's a lot of fish is what I'm trying to get to a point of. It's a shockingly large amount.
It's a lot, and the thing about it is we've expanded our operations now to where we're not just strictly Tellico, Citico. We're going into streams in Polk County. You've got fish that are coming out of Tellico now that are going to streams and tailwaters throughout the state. So it's
awesome.
We're continuing to grow a lot of the ideas and visions that have been passed along throughout the years have just accumulated into what I feel like is a very, very well-refined process up here right now.
It is.
Awesome. Well, Cody, tell us a little bit about yourself. You owner of Tellico Outfitters and Fly Shop, a guide service. Just give us a little background about yourself.
That's correct. I'm fairly new to the area. We've been here. We opened in April. Was our opening month. It's been really great so far, really well received with the community. It's pretty well agreed upon that, this is a big fly fishing area that needs something like a shop and outfitters, so it's been really well received. Came from South Dakota. I'm from Southern Illinois originally. I won't bore you with all the details, but I was out in South Dakota for 12 years, guided out there, worked for a shop a bit. Got most of my experience out that way. When we moved up here, I discovered Tellico as an outsider and fell in love with it, and just knew that was a place that a lot of potential and a place I wanted to focus on and be. So,
What drove you to Tennessee?
Climate.
Okay.
Yeah. If you've ever been to South Dakota, they've probably got 4 feet of snow right now. So, we have yet to see snow in our front yard, and we love that. So, we're okay with that.
Cool. That's funny. Sometimes people in Tennessee would like to see some snow, and you're trying to get away from it. That's cool, though. I guess one of our first questions here we had was some of the impacts you see with the delayed harvest and fishing in the area. So let's touch on that. What are your thoughts on that? The delayed harvest and fishing that we have in the area. What's some of the things you like about that?
Well, delayed harvest is a huge draw, especially for fly anglers. It's catch and release only. There's I believe about 12 miles of water that's catch and release only from October 1st through the end of February, and the stocking isn't as intense, not as many numbers per week or month, but the ones they put in there are very high quality. So it draws a lot of people up here. It's a quiet time of year. Great time to be out here if you're a fly angler especially. You may see just a handful of people on any given day, and it's as close as you're going to get to your own private stream for a lot of folks. So throw some good numbers of really big fish on top of that. I mean, some of these fish coming out of the hatchery are just big, healthy fish. 16 to 20 inches is not uncommon. Good numbers as well. So it attracts people from all over.
Yeah, it ties into our mission so perfectly, and the mission of the hatchery here, and in producing and providing for that industry. It's amazing to me, and it's really fun to hear the flip side of it.
Yeah.
Is it all 3 species, John, that are the main 3 trout species we have here in Tennessee? Is that what we're releasing for the delayed harvest?
During delayed harvest, we'll primarily release rainbow trout and brown trout.
Okay.
It's when you get into our only native species, the southern Appalachian brook trout. That's a more kind of intense process. We'll go out and actually collect those fish from their streams, propagate them here, rear them up, and then return them. So
back to their area.
Yeah, there will be stockings, obviously, into the selected streams that they were brought from. But as far as delayed harvest goes, we typically just rely on our rainbow trout and our brown trout that we usually try to get prepared specifically for delayed harvest throughout the year. It's the way that things work up here is there's just a really good continuity. We have concentrated on producing younger, bigger, healthier fish. So basically we've done that just by holding them out a little bit longer. And kind of like Cody was saying, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good to put a fish in a delayed harvest situation that's not capable of sustaining itself throughout the season. If it's older, if it's going to be stressed when caught and could potentially die. So what we've tried to do is produce a much larger, younger fish, and I think that they've seen that out there. And a fish like that is, aesthetically second to none, beautiful.
Yeah.
And then not to mention the fact puts up a heck of a fight and is perfectly capable of being caught multiple times throughout the season. And so when you have that as your trophy fish and then supplemented by, some very good, high quality stock size fish, and the weather conditions are conducive to sustaining them through the year, it works out really well because those fish will, be enjoyed by your delayed harvest, mostly fly anglers throughout the year. And then when we switch in March into the harvest season, a lot of those fish are still there for those guys. So it works out really, really well.
So where are you all seeing people come from to fish?
I see a lot of folks from Alabama, Mississippi, further south than us. We're one of the closest areas with this much opportunity to get up in the mountains and fish. Lots of folks from the upper Midwest as well. I see people from Ohio and the Northeast Coast quite a bit. So quite a few folks from all over. Not to mention lots of locals too. Knoxville, Chattanooga, Nashville. This is a big draw for a lot of folks locally as well. So.
When you bring in folks to fish with you, they contact you. I guess you got to help them make sure they got the right licenses and know what they need. Is that a struggle, or
yeah, it took some learning. There's different seasons on the Tellico, and your licensing depends on the season. Depends on if you're out of state or local and what license you get. So if you want me to cover a little bit of the bases.
Yeah, just so people know.
Yeah, so right now the Tellico is, it's pretty well known you need a Tellico permit, daily permit. That's $650 per day during the spring and summer stocking season. That runs from the 1st of March into August 15th. After August 15th, you do not need a permit. A lot of folks come to the shop thinking they need a permit to fish the delayed harvest. This time of year, you do not need that permit. As long as you have your non-resident or state license with a trout stamp, which is given through the state, not a local license on top of that. As long as you have that, you're good to go. Sportsman's license that's covered as well. A lot of folks have a sportsman's license, and with that, you don't need the Tellico permit as well if you have that sportsman's.
Cool. That'll help folks if they're watching or listening to know what they need. So what do you think folks are expecting when they come to visit? What are they going to expect? It's going to be cooler temperatures, cooler water, and
yeah. Come prepared for anything. I mean, today's not, it's a little windy, but it's almost t-shirt weather. Last week it was down in the teens up here, so depending on how long you plan to stay, bring everything, bring some layers, bring a rain jacket. Just be prepared for changes in weather, especially in the mountains that can change pretty quickly from hour to hour. As far as fishing gear goes, we'll get into the details a bit, which hopefully will not lose too many people on. But 9-foot 5 weight, most people are familiar. That's your standard trout rod. That works well in the Tellico. But don't overlook the fact that we've got a lot of other great streams in this area. The Tellico is heavily stocked, but also has a lot of wild trout, wild rainbows, a few wild browns. There's, I believe, 20 streams within about an hour's drive of Tellico, and the majority of those are wild fish. We're talking 6, 8, 10-inch fish, but just gorgeous wild fish. They're just making it on their own. And we're talking smaller streams, so a small rod is also, a good option. If you bring a 7.5-foot 3 weight, a handful of dry flies, you're gonna have a good day on these small streams as well.
And it's rugged terrain too.
It is. Yeah, be aware of that. Be aware, if you are not as confident with your wading skills, I would recommend a wading staff. Felt soled boots are also a good option to have up here. They do get a little slick and it's a little tough to wade in places, so make sure you're prepared for that. And as far as the small streams go, there are some that are fairly accessible. Others may require a 2-3 mile hike to get back into. So just be aware of what you're getting into.
But rugged, but beautiful.
And worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's very beautiful. So what's some of the feedback you're seeing from your guests? Are they enjoying some of the trips you take them on?
Yeah. I mean, the guide trips especially. I mean, we've only been doing guide trips in September, so that's fairly new. We're taking at least a couple per week. We've had some really great trips since the delayed harvest started. We had a gentleman just the other day had a full day trip. Had talked to him for a while about what to expect. I think he ended up getting 20 plus fish, and 3 of those were 18 to 20 inches.
Wow!
I got a chance to talk to him after, and he was just astounded. He thought he was going to come up here, maybe catch 3-4 fish in that 12-inch range, but it just was well beyond his expectations. So
I bet that makes you smile.
And
well, it does. I mean, it just kind of shows that. I mean, it's a cumulative process. I mean, between myself, the Streams crew, Travis Scott, but I mean, we've come up with management strategies, and it's really rewarding to see them work. And that's the thing about it. I mean, you can try a lot of things and not have it work, but it seems like the plans that we've laid out and the processes that we're using right now are very successful, and it just seems to be getting better. I think that in the next few years to come, it's just going to continue to improve.
Well, we're going to bring Caleb on, but I wanted to first get, and you gave us a few tips, but what's a tip that you would send out to the folks watching and listening if they're out on the water?
One of the biggest things, recommendations I can give is make sure you watch water temps. We are in the southernmost part of most trout's range. There's a little bit in Georgia, but we're pretty much it. So we are prone to warm summers, warm long summers, and that can raise water temps fairly quickly. So just be prepared. Bring a stream thermometer. If it's basically, my cutoff is 68 degrees. If it's warmer than that, fish somewhere else. Even lower is better. But that's kind of the cutoff. But if you're starting low, there's about 20 miles on the Tellico, especially in the summer. There's about 20 miles that you can fish. Work your way up until you find that water in that mid 60s or less. You'll find much better quality fishing. So I see a lot of people that fish real low, and in the summer, some of that section gets up into the 70s, and you're not going to have a lot of luck. You may find a few, but you're not going to find near as many as if you get up high. So be aware of your temps.
Yeah. So tell folks how they can find you if they want to hire you for a trip, or do you have a store locally?
Yeah, the store is in Tellico Plains, downtown Tellico Plains. Little bitty store, but ask around, you'll find us. Plug us into Google Maps, it'll bring you. If not right on us, it'll bring you in the areas. So Maps doesn't always work the best up here, but it'll get you close.
Doesn't work.
Plug it in before you get here.
Yeah. Then maybe call and verify with me that it'll take you where you think you're going. But we're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. I try to put out stream reports every week, so check that out. Awesome. All our information, our guide rates and everything are on the website. So TellicoOutfitters.com.
Perfect.
We've got a website and store on there as well, so you can find information. Feel free to contact me. I'm always trying to, make sure and answer people on Messenger, Instagram, whatever. So that's a great way to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Good deal. Well,
Thanks.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Thanks for setting this up, Mimi. This is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks, John.
Oh, no problem.
Well, let's bring Caleb on. Come on in here, Caleb. Luzader, he's going to talk to us about his company, Tennessee Fly Company. His dad owns, I think he told me his dad owns that, started that company. He's the manager of Tennessee Fly Company, and they got a lot of gear and things at their store. So, Caleb,
Perfect.
Thanks for being with us.
Hey, thanks for inviting me on here. This is a pleasure.
Yeah. Tell us about yourself. Just give us a little background.
Yeah, so I've been born and raised in Cleveland. I actually have familial ties to the Tellico Plains area. My grandmother actually was raised in Citico.
Okay.
So this place is just really special to me, just from that aspect. But, fishing's been a part of my life, literally my whole life. And Tellico's where I really fell in love with trout fishing. I didn't fall in love with it on the Hiwassee. I just fell on the Hiwassee. So
been there.
Yeah. So that's great. But no, I originally was in bass fishing. I competitively bass fished from the time I was 10 years old all the way up until I was about 20. Went to college for it, and then I just kind of got burned out, and that's when I found fly fishing, and so went fly fishing for the first time. Got bit by the bug, and now all of a sudden I've got a fly shop, and like you said, we also run Chode Outdoor Gear, a new wader brand called Miss Mayfly, which is a women's eccentric wader company that the
Very
waders,
cool.
They're not just like turquoise colored, but they're actually made to fit women's bodies.
Cool.
So we've created a whole sizing platform for that, and Daiichi hooks, so a really good hook manufacturer, not just on the bass side, but also on fly fishing. We've got tons of fly fishing hooks, so we kind of dove head in into the whole fly fishing gig.
So your store is here in Tellico, right?
Our store is actually in Charleston, Tennessee.
Okay.
Yep. So it's if you take exit 33 on I-75, you hang a right on Lauderdale Memorial Highway, go until it hits Highway 11. Take a left right before you cross the Hiwassee River. We're right there on your left.
Okay.
Very
Cool.
nice.
Well, awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about what you experience in your shop. People coming in and wanting to find some information about fly fishing or whatnot, and probably have a lot of questions about licenses and things in the area. And so, what do you run into mainly a lot of times?
Like Cody went over, the permit is a big one, right? With the delayed harvest. When do we need the permit? When do you not need the permit? How much does the permit cost? And how to get it? Obviously licensed agents. We're not a licensing agent, but we walk people through the process of, hey, GoOutdoorsTennessee.com.
Perfect.
You can do
That's
that
awesome,
on your
yeah.
phone. You've got the app. I mean, there's so many times that it's March 1st and I go, I've got to get my fishing license on the way. And we'll stop. I'll pull my smartphone out. I'll dial it in and get it done, or I'll put it on auto renew.
Perfect advertisement right there.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's awesome.
I'm telling you, that mobile app is great.
Thank you.
It's good to hear.
But also just what flies to use, weighting. What's a good CFS or water level to wade. When should we go? When should we not go? And obviously what flies are working, or maybe you're not a fly fisherman and you spin fish. Hey, is there a certain spinner that's working? Mm-hmm. What are the regs on spinners? Can I have 3 hooks? Can I only have 1 hook? Things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you see a lot of that? Folks come in and would rather spin fish rather than fly fish, but still.
I think for our area, we're not out in Montana. We're not out, and so a lot of people they grew up, throwing a Zebco 33 or a spinning rod, and so that's awesome, and we want to encourage that. But we also, hey, if you're interested in fly fishing, we want to help you with that, and get you set up and teach you the ways of the fly, right? It's not as mysterious as it sounds, I promise. So,
well, you guys have a pretty significant online sales presence too.
Yeah. With Tennessee Fly Company, definitely our online presence is a big. Since we purchased them in January and brought them on, and so we've got 18.6 thousand followers on Instagram, which is big, and it's so awesome to see that. Tennessee fly fishing goes way beyond our borders. It's everywhere. So
it's very cool.
That's awesome. Awesome.
I love the point that this location is so ideal. Yeah. You can fly fish for a few days and then go fish someplace else.
Yeah.
It is ideally suited.
We are in Southeast Tennessee. We are in a fishing mecca, is what I call it. If you want to be up here and chase trophy trout, you can. 2 hours away, you can go to Chickamauga Lake, go after a state record bass. Mm-hmm. There's tons of stuff out there.
Very cool.
And you'll see that with a lot of the anglers up here. I mean, you'll have guys that'll come up and they'll chase the trophies on the Tellico for a day or two, and they'll lay into good fish, and they'll have an absolutely great time. And then they'll come up and we want to do something a little different. And that's when you'll find, recommend them up to North River, Bald River, or even Sycamore, somewhere like that where they can fish a wild stream. Yeah. And something I'd like to add in on, Caleb and Cody both, as far as my job up here in management and going through, we do a lot of work with veterans. We do at least 2 veterans events a year, and then as well as kids events. And these guys both, as outfitters, have been outstanding. Anytime I've ever needed anything, awesome. It's not a if they're going to help, it's just a phone call.
Yeah,
you call them,
you
say, we're having our veterans event. Would you guys be available to provide guide service for us? And they're here. And it's it's usually, we're here. What else do you guys need? It's the assistance they've given us, and that's what makes, I think, a lot of our success is just the dedication that not only TWRA and our employees have, but is people like Cody and Caleb that come in here and give their own time and their own professionalism to contribute to making this successful. Because it's really nice to have, especially like our Project Healing Waters events, the ability to give a combat injured veteran a professional guide for a day. That's not just something that's small change. That's a significant thing. And these guys come off the water having some of the greatest days of their lives. Yeah. And something else I've seen, it ends up being equally rewarding for them, because I've seen, you think that you're providing a service to the vets, and then you end up having a guy like Caleb or Cody come and was like, man, it's probably one of the best days I've had on the water. But, as far as their assistance to what we do here, I can't thank them enough.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate that.
It kind of, I do see it as this amazing partnership in that it furthers our mission.
Oh, it does.
All of us are connected, whether we're on the biology side, the law enforcement side with TWRA, and then us as business owners. We all work together to make this resource work and treat it responsibly, and recruit new people. If you look at excise tax sales, they've kind of been ticking down, over the last few years, and so it's up to us to recruit in a technological age, to recruit people to come up, to unplug, and actually find themselves and be alone with themselves on the river and their families and everything like that. So,
it is hard to relay the beauty. I keep saying it, but it's such a beautiful place, and I think I would imagine a lot of your guests give you that feedback about what that time away means.
Yeah, people that get into fly fishing, everybody fly fishes for their own reason, but very few people you ever ask them, man, why'd you get into fly fishing? Almost every single time it's, I went through this, and fly fishing was my outlet to get through this, or hey, I really did enjoy it, but it's tied to something with family. Like there's a sentimental reason as to why you get out and you fish. Like, yeah, you do love it, but there's something that feeds your soul, and not just the time out there and catching the fish. So
I'd say with your business being online, have a bigger online presence, you probably help a lot of people from out of state coming through to what they need and that kind of thing. But what do you see? Who do you see coming through your store, and what kind of guy, helping them get to where they need to go? And
yeah, I mean, just like Cody said, a lot of people from the Southeast, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, South Carolina, North Carolina, but a lot of people up north, Ohio, Indiana, there, everything, you go to water, you can knock on it. It's hard up there in the wintertime. Yeah. So
they're coming down here.
They come down here, and they fish. So honestly, just about anywhere. Mainly this, east of the Mississippi River. But yeah, really this entire eastern, seaboard comes down here. Yeah. And makes a trip of it. So.
It'll surprise you, the people that you'll see coming to Tellico to fish. I mean, we've seen people from all over the country. At our kids event this year, we actually had people from Montana, and I thought that was like one of the neatest things ever. And they had came here to fish and just happened to coincide with the kids event. But kind of going back to our relationship with the outfitters, another thing that I'd like to mention is, they are a very, very, very dependable source of information when it comes to our management. Because when you have guys like Cody and Caleb that have this level of knowledge, and I can call them up and say, how's the fishing? And it's not, you can get a pretty good assessment of what's going on out there as far as, the bite. And from that, you can gauge, a lot of what we do with our stocking and such. And then also, hey, what do the fish you're catching look like? What's the fitness of the fish? And, usually they're a very, very, very good indicator of, the fitness, the overall health of the fish. And from that, we can determine if we need to be adding more, if we need to be cutting back. It's a very, very good partnership.
Awesome.
In all aspects.
Yeah.
So Caleb, one more time, where can folks find you?
You can find us on online, tnflyco.com, or on Instagram, tnflyco, Facebook, tnflyco as well.
Awesome. So we'll try to tag these guys and make sure everybody knows who they are and share their information on our social media channels. And appreciate you being with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Caleb.
And thanks, Cody, for being on. And Jon, always thank you for
thank you for coming up,
jumping in here again with us. It's great to be at Tellico Hatchery and see what all the work that's going on here. So.
Great to have you here. And today we're halfway warm.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to shed the jacket here in a minute.
Me too.
Well, Mimi, thank you.
My pleasure.
As always, you do a great job for us and lining this up and the work that you do. So. Appreciate you and appreciate the audience. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Keep tuning in. Keep coming back. And we'll see you next time on Tennessee WildCast.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.